Good day. My name is Terry Difazio, and you're watching Dial It Up. Today, my guest is Ernie Zisselsberger, who is a Guardian Ad Litem. Is it for Orleans County, or is it more than that?
Orleans County.
Orleans County, okay. Well, it's great to have you on the show, Ernie. I've been trying to get, I did have somebody else here from the state of Vermont. I think it was David Kennedy.
Right.
I had on a while ago. Now, how long have you been doing this?
About 15 years.
15 years, okay.
Yeah.
I bet you've seen a lot of cases in that time.
Oh, yeah. I've been involved in probably in excess of 100
Oh, is that right?
over the 15 years.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
Now, you were not born here in the U.S. You were born in Germany, correct?
That is correct.
Okay. And what year were you born?
1933.
And you moved here when you were?
21.
21? Okay. So well after World War II then?
Yes.
Okay. How was the transition from Germany to the U.S.?
Well, originally it was a culture shock.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I was born and raised over there under the German, European culture.
Mm-hmm.
And coming over here, it is a shock.
Mm-hmm.
But, and I was immersed in the American culture.
Mm-hmm.
I had to learn the language out of necessity.
Mm-hmm.
So it worked out well.
You know what I found? I never learned a language. I tried French and even Latin, but I've noticed that it's too bad when I was in high school they weren't teaching German, because I found that German would be easier because it's a Germanic language like English. Would be much easier than trying to learn, like, say, French. To me, French doesn't make any sense. It just doesn't make sense.
Well, English is actually an easy language to learn.
It is?
Yeah. The grammar is very simple,
mm-hmm.
so makes it a lot easier.
Yeah. What I want to find out was, now the Guardian Ad Litem program, it's totally volunteer. It isn't paid, is it?
Absolutely.
Okay.
The only thing we get paid for is mileage.
Okay. If you have to travel somewhere?
Yeah.
Where might your travels take you, Ernie?
I've been to St. Johnsbury. I've been as far as Rutland
mm-hmm.
for meetings and stuff.
Okay.
It depends. Normally, you don't go too far. You stay within Orleans County most of the time.
Mm-hmm.
So.
And I believe the court here in Newport is the only one in Orleans County?
That is correct.
Okay. Yeah, and there's a difference. There's the criminal court, and I guess there's a family court, is it? Or
yeah.
Something like that. Yeah. Okay. So can you explain some of the duties that you have?
Well, my Guardian Ad Litem's duty is to represent the best interest of the client,
mm-hmm.
which is most of the time it's children.
Okay.
Most of our cases are in family court, and we represent children
mm-hmm.
in the court proceedings. And the only other cases I have once in a while is in criminal court, if there is an adult that is mentally challenged. And occasionally, very rarely though, I have cases in probate.
Oh, okay. All right. And what would get you involved in a probate case?
Because adoption.
Oh.
Stuff like that.
Wow. Okay. The only reason I asked is because when my mom died, I had to go through probate, and it was a pain in the neck. It was a real pain in the neck. But so you're involved with the court system quite a bit then?
Yeah.
About how many days a week do you have to spend in court or involved in the court system?
Oh, most of our cases are Monday's juvenile court day.
Oh.
So usually it's on Mondays, and if I'm involved in criminal court, then criminal court is usually on Tuesday or Wednesdays. So, but that is far less than my involvement in family court.
Okay. Do you, so the rest of your time, where is that spent? In the field, visiting with families and that?
Yeah, some of it is visiting families. So some of it is having contact with DCF.
Okay. Is there a lot of contact with them?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
because most of our children are involved in family court, either are in custody of DCF, or you get some kind of DCF involvement. So we usually work closely together with DCF.
Okay. Now that's got to be pretty challenging work, working with DCF, right?
It is interesting.
Yeah. I would find that very challenging because you're not going to get easy cases there.
Well, it depends on what it is. If it's neglect, it can get pretty hairy on occasions.
I can imagine, Ernie. Well, you don't seem like you've weathered too badly with it. What are the general qualifications and/or training that a guardian ad litem has to go through?
We have to get about 40 hours of training.
Okay.
Before you can act as a GAL.
Mm-hmm.
And then after you got the classrooms, you usually the new ones shadow an experienced GAL for a couple of cases until they feel comfortable enough to do it on their own.
Approximately how many hours a week do you do this?
It depends on the caseload, how often it comes up for hearings in court. Sometimes it's as little as maybe 10 hours a week, but in busy times it could be it can involve maybe up to 20 hours a week.
Okay, so it can be like a half-time job even.
So, on occasions, yes.
So if you have a full-time job, this on top of it would make for a lot of hours, wouldn't it?
It would make it very difficult. No,
okay.
I started to do it after I retired. Give me something to do, and it's an opportunity to give back to the community.
Well, it seems to me that they picked a good person.
Well, thank you.
You know, I mean, you've been at this 15 years, which means that somebody likes the work you do, and you must be pretty darn good at it, or you wouldn't still be at it.
Well, do the best you can. That's about all you can do.
So, about how many cases? How big is your caseload? How many cases do you handle at once?
Up to about a dozen.
Okay.
But that can stretch out over over a year or even more sometimes. It depends on what kind of a case it is.
Okay.
The best are when it involves babies.
Oh boy. I bet those are the toughest, aren't they? No?
It could be, but it depends. But also, it's the most satisfying.
Oh, okay. Explain that. Now that sounds interesting. Explain why is that the most satisfying, Ernie? I probably agree with you, but I'd like to hear your answer.
Especially when you have a baby that's been involved in neglect, and if you can do something for that little one and get it into a family that adopts the baby, get give that baby a new start and a new life, when it actually has an opportunity to do really well, that's satisfying.
Well, that must be very gratifying, to say the least. Are there any educational requirements to do this job? In other words, do you have to have...
I guess they want at least a high school diploma, I would imagine.
Okay.
But that's about it.
There's no colleges required?
No.
Okay.
No.
But it probably wouldn't hurt if you had some.
Well, they are.
Okay.
I mean, you learn as you go along.
Right. And unless you did this, you went to college specifically for something like this, there's no other way to learn it. You'd have to do it on the job, correct?
Absolutely.
So how many... You said you've been involved in several hundred cases over the years?
Oh, well, maybe 100. Well, in excess of 100, I said.
Excess of 100?
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Do any particular ones stand out in your mind?
Well, the worst case of neglect I've ever came across was a case where the mother kept the little one in a dog kennel.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. I know you can't give any identifying information, but yeah, generally speaking. So how long did that go on before somebody caught a hold of it?
Well, I think it came to the attention of DCF, and then DCF got the court involved. That's how we got into it.
Mm-hmm. And how long did it take to resolve that, Ernie?
Well, close to a year before it was. The parents were TPR'd, that their parental rights were terminated.
Mm-hmm. I would imagine
in court, and the little one, the children, put up for adoption. Okay.
Do you happen to know, did that child get adopted right off?
I believe he did, yeah.
Okay. Well, that's good to know. Have you ever been in a situation where you felt ill at ease or even threatened?
No.
No?
No.
It's never gotten that bad?
No.
No yelling or screaming matches or anything like that?
Oh, well, yeah, that. You can hear that. It depends, you know. Parents can get very aggravated.
Mm-hmm.
But hey, we are just there for the children.
Mm-hmm.
We have nothing to do when it comes to the parents. They have to fight with DCF.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You just make, as I understand it, you just make a recommendation, correct?
That's all we can do.
Yeah, you make the recommendation.
The only one that has the power to make decisions is the judge.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody else just makes recommendations.
That leads me to another question that I don't even have here. But in your opinion, are your recommendations usually followed by the judge or not?
In most cases, in my experience, most cases the judge pays quite a bit of attention to our recommendations.
Well, I would think so, because you're like a third party. You're just sitting back and you're watching everything.
Yeah, we are neutral.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, has there ever been a case that you've noticed, not of your own, but of where there was a bias, that a Guardian Ad Litem had a bias, one way or the other?
I don't think so.
No?
I don't know. At least I don't know of any.
Mm-hmm. And probably when they pick the guardians for a specific case, they make it to be somebody that you don't know. In other words, no friends, no family, nothing like that.
No. If I would know the person involved, I would excuse myself.
Right. Yeah, and the court would probably
that'll be a conflict of interest.
Yeah, and the court would probably want you to do that, correct?
Absolutely.
You know.
Yeah.
So, do most of your cases are involved with child custody?
Yes.
And you said that there were a few others, but most of it's child custody?
Most of it is child custody, it's child neglect, or child abuse,
Mm-hmm.
Or in criminal court, when it's teenagers involved in committing crimes.
Oh, okay. So you might get involved in a case, for example, with a teenager that's dealing drugs or doing drugs or something like that.
Burglaries, yeah.
You know, burglaries, public intoxications, anything like that.
Oh, yeah.
In your work, do you see a lot of substance abuse issues come up
With teenagers, yes.
With parents?
Well,
Yeah.
parents, that's the biggest thing.
Oh, okay.
When it comes to neglect of children, substance abuse has an awful lot to do with it.
I'm glad you brought that up because I used to be a substance abuse counselor.
Right.
And I saw a lot of that too. So any specific drug you see, or is it just any?
Heroin.
Heroin? Wow.
That's the big one. No.
So in the cases you've seen, the drug of choice for the worst cases is usually heroin?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. You start with pills and go on to heroin.
Okay.
Heroin is cheaper than pills.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, that's true. And you probably see your share of alcohol problems too?
Yeah, but alcohol is actually less of a problem than heroin is.
Mm-hmm.
It used to be the big thing, not anymore.
Yeah. I noticed that when I worked in the prison, that alcohol was the overriding problem for the population that we had. Now I don't know now, but it seems to have shifted over to heroin.
Right.
Because it is so cheap. And
Oh,
plus,
yeah.
there's so many different grades of it now, too, you know.
And it's easily available.
Yeah. Yeah, it's getting shipped up from out of state, from, New York, Massachusetts, and like that.
Right.
So have you ever had an instance where you do home inspections, correct?
Yeah, sometimes.
Okay. How often do you do those, Ernie?
Not as often anymore as I used to.
Mm-hmm.
If we do home inspections, I usually go with the caseworker from DCF.
Oh, okay. So you never go in alone?
No.
Okay. That's probably a good thing.
Well, it avoids a lot of problems.
Oh, yeah. I would imagine so. Have you ever come across a case where you did a home inspection and somebody was you just caught somebody doing drugs right off?
No.
Never caught that?
No.
Okay.
They know when we're coming, so.
Oh, you do notify them?
It's not surprise.
Okay.
We don't do surprise inspections.
Okay. So what do? You give them a call or you write them a letter or
Right.
something?
Give them a call, make arrangements over the phone,
Oh, okay.
set a time and date.
That's probably safer to do it that way, isn't it?
That, and we're not really out to get them.
Mm-hmm.
We just want to see what the place is like.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you just want to walk in as an observer and
That's all.
and see.
Yeah.
As far as the other stuff is concerned, you probably leave that to the police or the DCF or whomever.
Yeah.
That's their gig, isn't it?
That's their job.
Have you ever had a situation where you had to walk in with police?
No.
No? Just DCF workers?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, at what point does a guardian ad litem get involved in a child custody battle? So you've got two parents and they're going through a divorce and they both want the child. When do they say, okay, Ernie?
The court decides that.
The court decides that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Whenever the judge decides he wants a GL on the case, the judge makes the appointments.
Okay.
He appoints the GL.
Okay. And how many judges up here are involved in this system?
We got 2 judges. One does only the family court, and the other one only does the criminal court.
Oh, okay. Yeah, and I couldn't tell you what...
Criminal and superior.
Okay. I couldn't tell you what their names were, but there's basically just 2 judges.
Judge Bent does the family court right now,
Mm-hmm.
and Judge Van Tyson is in the criminal court.
I read about them in the papers, but I don't know who does what. Are they easy guys to get along with? I mean,
Oh yeah,
they listen to what you've got to say?
absolutely.
Okay. And so your only interest is the best interest of the child.
Whatever is in the best interest of the child.
And what if you're looking at a child custody case, what might sway your decision toward one parent or another?
Well, there's economic situations. You look at that.
Oh, economics. Okay.
Housing, jobs. If they're able to properly support the child, properly take care of the child the way it needs to be taken care of, and the home situation has a lot to do with it.
Yeah, if the home's in good shape, if it's tidy, if it's clean, things like that.
Yeah.
Obviously, if you walk into a place and you see empty beer bottles all over, that's probably not a good
That's
thing.
not a good sign.
Yes, especially if you walk in and trip over one, that really would not be a good thing. So, do you have any advice that you'd like to give someone who, say, might want to get involved in this?
Well, if you have the time, it is an interesting job. It can be at times very gratifying, but also at times it can get miserable.
Can get frustrating, I would imagine, right?
So you got to take the good with the bad. That's it.
In your opinion, which seems to be, which seems to be more out of balance, the good or the bad?
I think it's in the long run it balances out.
It balances out?
Yeah.
Yeah. What's the longest you've ever had a case go?
About a year and a half.
Year and a half?
Yeah.
Yeah. What did that one involve, Ernie?
It was a custody.
It was custody?
Yeah. Custody situation.
I would imagine if you had two parents that were just about dead even, that would probably be the most difficult, as opposed to one that was on one end of the spectrum and one that was on the other end.
Well, I think the worst cases are when the parents are fighting amongst themselves.
Yes.
And then draw the children into it.
Oh, yeah.
Use the children as weapons against each other.
Yeah. And I imagine you have to deal with some lawyers too, don't you?
Oh, yeah.
That must be a lot of fun.
Well, actually, I have a very good rapport with the attorneys.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
What are some of the attorneys you've worked with?
Well, there's I got to think of the names.
I know that one just retired, Duncan Kilmartin. Did you ever have to work with him?
No.
No? I think he did. He was in a different line anyways.
Yeah, he did. He did a different kind of work.
Right.
He was very rarely involved in family courts.
Okay. How about somebody like, say, David Slay?
I worked with David. He's a very interesting man.
Yes, I know.
He's a heck of an attorney.
Oh, I know.
Oh, yeah.
I know. I utilized him once, and he even did some work he tried to do some work down at Guantanamo Bay once.
I believe he was. Yeah, I believe he was. Yeah.
What happened, I'm not sure, but
I don't either.
The only other lawyers that I can think of offhand, it was Corby Gary. I know of him. Did you know him?
No.
And then there was Dave Williams. I know of him. So, how many different attorneys have you had to get involved with?
Oh, about a dozen or so, I would say.
About a dozen or so? Yeah, another one that comes to mind is Trudy Miller.
I worked with her quite often.
And there's probably two or three others I just can't think of offhand, but those are the only ones that I can think of. Oh, Vince Aluzzi is another one.
No, I have never worked with Vince.
Yeah, I think he's mostly a prosecutor anyway.
He's the prosecutor in Essex County.
Right. Yeah, those are about the only ones that I know of, and I think that's a good thing. But so David Slay is based out of St. Johnsbury, but he has come up here, huh?
Oh yeah, he does come up here every now and then. If in a criminal case, I wouldn't want anybody else.
Oh, is that right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like I said, what little I've dealt with him, he looked like an extremely competent attorney, a very competent attorney.
He is.
So, any last words do you have for anybody out there, or Ernie? All I can say is that it's great work that you do, and I'm glad that there are people that will volunteer to do it.
If there is anybody out there that has the time and is willing to spend some of the time, support the children, we always glad to welcome them. We're looking for people.
Well, I think it's important work. And is there a contact number or a website or something that people can go to?
Just call Orleans County Court.
Orleans County Court?
Family Court, yeah.
Okay. I will put that information up on our screen. I can do that in post-production. I can put it up, and we'll put that on there. I'd like to really thank you for coming down to visit with us today, Ernie.
It's my pleasure.
And I'm hoping that. Do you have any idea how many more years you want to do this?
Oh, I hope I can do it maybe 1 or 2 more years.
1 or 2 more years?
Yeah.
Is there a point where you feel you get burned out?
Well, I'm not there yet.
Not there yet.
But I'm not getting any younger.
Well, I don't know. If I can find somebody that's getting younger instead of older like us, I want to meet that person. It's been great having you on. As a matter of fact, maybe in a month or two, we may have you or somebody else from the Guardian Ad Litem program, because I think it's very important work. And so I want to thank you.
Thank you.
To all our viewers out there, this is Terry Difazio for Dial It Up. And we'll catch you on the flip side. It's been a pleasure. Have a good day.